Wait, who's
Good
gonna
evening,
be?
everybody, and welcome to I believe it's the ninth day now of the BPL. Tonight we have Elements versus Mates, and I'm going to be commentating alongside Whoopsie from the Legion clan. Hello, Whoopsie.
Hello.
So, is this the first time you've commentated so far this league, or
Uh,
have you helped out previously?
I guess so. First time I commentated ever, probably.
Oh well,
So
so due to the delay, we'll be starting this match almost immediately. So, first map is Oasis Palms, and as I said, we've got Elements versus Mates. So
I'm
immediately,
starting from the south spawn. I see.
yeah. So what kind of lineups we got looking at? So we've got some E50Ms, Gorilla 15, IS4s from ISM, and an E3 from Elements. And on the mate side, we have an IS4, two IS7s, a Pattern, a Mouse, a 268, and an E3. So what do these sorts of tanks tell you? Where would you go, Whoopsie, with these sorts of lineups?
I would try to uh, take the advantage of the medium side. Well, from side of LM, straight away they're already going to take the advantage on the medium side with the E50Ms going to the corner. So kind of building crossfire on the crossing area to medium side straight away, and then you can see bunny bears going through the riverbed and trying to spot, I guess, near the B cap, and
Yeah.
if they have anybody in the riverbed straight away. And Theos is being aggressive on the C cap. Yeah, he's spotting it straight away, not being afraid by getting spotted by the
It's
pattern and
interesting that they
flipper.
chose E50M's elements rather than the pattern or something like that, because what do they have? Only like 7 degrees of gun depression, rather than the pattern's 8. So
Yeah,
it's
they
interesting the
also
tank
have
choice.
decent armor. They were buffed. Yeah.
True, true. And they're also very accurate, I suppose, so they're good for getting shots into the tank destroyers. Looks now Mates
So
is rotating round more towards the A. They're bringing their tank destroyer, their 268, back into the town. And we've got here
yeah,
an engagement going on between the IS-7s and the IS-4 of Favor CZ.
So we can see on the element side also they've already trying to control the map. There is an 1E50M coming back to support the heavy and the E3 at their spawn, and I don't really well according to the minimap, the second E50M is trying to spot the TD positions, but I don't think he's gonna do it successfully from that range. But LM already have a cap advantage, so all they need to do is basically hold. And on this flank, Radium is already. Oh, now Gun is also bleeding HP, so now it's pretty much equal.
It's
But
going to be, considering the caps are so close, it's likely that one kill will just swing the balance completely. And then
yeah,
rather than currently Mates has to make the push eventually, LM might
yeah.
have to.
Also, what LM need to pay attention to is securing the B cap because the mouse of a mate is pretty close, and if he, even at the last minute of the game, gets into it and doesn't get killed or gets the cap, then it might
Palms,
be
and as I said, we've
LM
got
might be in
Elements
trouble.
versus.
Also, I didn't really expect Ellen to play like that overall. I thought they're gonna like send the mediums to the medium side and also try to brawl the city, but as you see, they have total control of the medium area, and yeah, they are holding here. And a mate's being aggressive in city straight away, but I didn't even notice how they lost that lead on caps because they didn't really spot anybody there, and they could just pop into A straight away. But it seems like they were scared
It
because the
is
lineups
interesting
don't seem obvious.
how they managed to lose that cap advantage, like you just said. I mean, they were there first, and they should have really capped that base much faster.
Yeah, looking at the HP bars, we can already see 1k HP advantage to LM, and Mate seems to be stuck because they are all pretty much in A1v1 if you look at the minimap. And, well, you can already see two heavies relocating back towards their spawn, and they are probably gonna try to spot the E50M and maybe bleed him a little bit, if not get rid of him completely. So,
If they did that, then
they're,
that would open them up to a push on the left flank of Mates.
yeah. You can also see Radium in his IS-7. Well, he's low HP, but he's also relocating. Even the 268 is relocating towards Celopan and Bulargin. So they are planning a relocation, even a huge relocation, with like four, no, actually three tanks, because Radium decided to not go. Oh, wow,
Looks like
Gun
the
is
mouse is going
bleeding.
straight in now, so he's going to be trying to 1v1 Funny Bears here, and it's going to come down to who can get the best shots in.
Yeah, it seems like Elam noticed the relocation because Gun, Favor, and Orca in the E3 with the Silva covering them from the back are pushing up on the Red, and I think Red is gonna go down really quickly if he doesn't get cover from his teammates.
it's this coordinated push here from mates, able to get tons of flanking shots in, as you just said, into the IS4.
Gun is down, and at the same time the red is down, so the guns are equal, but the HP is in favor of ELEM. But it's tight, I have to say. The favor, I think, is gonna go into A right now to stop the cap and get the cap advantage, and the mates really need to do something, because the tanks at their spawn seem really separated, and if they don't get A back, or they don't get rid of the C cap,
Radium's going down now, so if Radium's is really low health, so if he gets finished off and A base is finished cap, then it's pretty much all over for mates.
Yep, well, the A cap is being stopped. I guess somebody is rolling with favor. Oh my god, swapping players' abilities.
Excalibur is now trying to circle these two slower heavy tanks and tank destroyers, but he's getting just shot from supporting fire from the other elements tanks.
No, Excalibur is gonna be done. Yes, definitely.
Now done.
And now they're going but the C cap is being stopped at the same time. But look at the
900 and 1000.
Yeah, it's for ELEM.
It's too
that
close
was a
then.
GG. To be fair, the mates they tried playing really careful, but it seems like I didn't even see the crossfire angles of ELEM, but they bled mate tanks from the beginning straight away, like on 1k HP, and I think this kind of gave advantage, because when favor and when the E3 pushed in the A cap, they had to force a mate to do something, and I think the guys from a mate got kind of lost, and I don't know why they went to brawl the medium side when they were getting pushed in the heavy side, because that was kind of weird. But
if we look at the damage quickly, we can see that the 268 is and the IS7, the only two surviving mate tanks, got 0 damage there. So
yeah, weren't those the tanks relocating though? I remember Kid was moving towards the medium side. Oh well, yeah, you see now, yeah, basically. So now moving to the
second match on this map, and we will be having, well, there were swapping spawns, and I wonder how mates are going to approach this differently. I think the main mistake they really made last game was not capping the base soon enough, meaning that they were the ones that had to basically make the push into the enemy. So if they maybe get a base faster this round, then
well, we already saw some unstandard tactic moves from ELEM, because the lineup seemed heavy, but they took control of over the medium side, and I think mates need to respond with something unusual also this time. Otherwise, the creativity itself might give ELEM a huge advantage, in my opinion.
That might well happen. We're just waiting now for the final few tanks to ready up, and then we will see how these teams perform again. And we've got some interesting maps tonight. We got along that after this Vineyards and Black Goldville, two very big maps and very open. But now we are heading into our second round. Oh, maybe not. Waiting for Ganward to ready up again.
Yeah, both maps, Vineyards and Black Goldville are quite interesting, because Vineyards been reworked like how many updates ago? 2 or 1?
It was quite recently, but it was mostly graphical, really. Like the main areas of it stayed the same, didn't they?
Yeah, but even the caps were more secured. Now you can like get the cap advantage straight away, and it kind of brings the how to say, the freshness to the gameplay. And Black Goldville hasn't been played both in tourneys, and I think I remember it wasn't even played in Twister Cup back then, and now it's back, and it will be quite interesting to see what teams perform for that.
Absolutely. Let's head into our second game on Oasis Palms in the Miwa, and these lineups are relatively similar. We're seeing an E100 this time instead of a mouse, and again from elements we've got 2 IS4s, 2 IS7s, so quite a fast, heavy lineup there.
Time to roll out.
And it looks like elements are going into the town with that majority heavy lineup, and we're seeing mates head out into, well, actually no, they're coming into the town as well now. So we're going to have a brawl with all of these heavy tanks.
Yeah, they're playing default strategies right now, like being aggressive on the heavy side and just spotting and shooting out the medium side with the TD, because from the start it was obvious Gun didn't decide to move on to spot closer to the C-cap, which means he's just here to hold. But he doesn't have a TD covering him, and a mate guy at 6 caliber does. There is a drill right behind him, so Gun can't really be aggressive here. But if you see, the Demon Lord in the 268 is quite close, so he can relocate to the corner as well. And but he's not ready to make a shootout. But he's ready to support the guys in CT. I don't really know what's gonna happen, but you can see the HPs are the same as from the start. Nobody has bled.
It's interesting to see the very meta tactic of putting the heavy tanks where they are. So you got the IS-4s, IS-7s in those nice hold down positions, just either side of A. And then you've got a slightly bigger heavy tank, as we see the E100 here, Boulanger from Mates.
Yeah, definitely. But what Radium should really do in that position is be careful, because against IS-4s with their basically huge heat penetration, he can just get demolished, erased in his cheeks and in the turret cheeks also. And IS-7 is in that position isn't the best choice. But you can see Funny Bears and Orca from ELEM also playing IS-7 in a pretty exposed position, I'd say. They are exposing their cheeks every time they peek, and that might be a nice treat to Kid. You can see Kid is in a
difficult shot to make though. But if, as I was saying, if you can get premium ammo into the cheeks of the IS-7, it's quite it's a tricky shot, but it pays off, doesn't it?
Well, yeah, especially if the TD or anybody shooting the cheek has like what's it called? The increased penetration equipment.
Yeah.
It really works, but it's trollish at the same time also. Better not to risk it, I'd say. And you see Radium turning around. I don't think that's a relocation. He's trying to do something with the gun depression, but
it's not working.
He rethought. He doesn't want to do
Unfortunately, the nature of this map is very campy if the teams choose to go the heavy side. I'm waiting to see some sort of push through the middle, through the riverbed potentially, with if one of the teams decides to bring back their IS-4s, IS-7s, because that usually can change the flow of the game.
Yeah, and that could be done. Many teams have at least 2 or 3 heavy tanks near the middle area. All you need to do is just drop down and go around. But at the same time, if ELEM are going to do that, they are gonna get shot out by the E3 and Grill on the M8 side. And if M8s do that, they are only maybe going to focus to get shot by the E50M. And that's it, because the TD isn't in position. So if M8s do that, it kinda could work. And if ELEM could do that, that would be kinda tricky. But you can see the medium side is getting dominated by M8s. And Sexcalibur is being really aggressive on that E50M, probably using the advantages of Patton, the gun depression, and the turret armor. He's also blind shooting the TD position, but it's not there.
The pattern is probably better in this sort of situation over the E50 even, because as I mentioned earlier, the gun depression and the turret armor on the pattern is definitely superior to that of the E50M.
Yeah, for sure. Well, in terms of HP, well, it's
very even. Everything is even. Yeah. We've just had 4 minutes of camping. Oh, and it looks like mates are going to be making a push through the middle with the E5, E100s coming round.
Oh, yeah.
And Elements is responding.
Yeah, E3 also came closer, and Celopan is getting damage into him, and I think he will be the first one focused out, along with the E100 and the E5.
Good team play here from Favor, blocking the shots of his friendly IS-7, enabling him to peek out onto the wall and get on the shot on himself. And it just seems like mates have just stalled. But Favor there, taking 1,300 damage, another one, and he's down already.
He was just focused out. That was just him exposing the lower plate and the cheeks not angling.
But if we look over here as well, the red in his E3 is also extremely low. Oh, he puts a HE shell into the IS-4. He should have waited for that AP.
Yes.
But he goes down as well. Great shot.
Radium is coming to support Celopan, but I think Theos and the Silva are actually going to be aggressive on this side now, because Funny Burst and Orca is very low HP, and Funny Burst is bleeding, but they can also build some kind of a crossfire into Radium and into the Celopan.
Funny Bear's for some reason deciding to turn his rear armor towards the enemy, and is he going to be able to get another shot?
Oh, Celopan is gone.
The Demon Lord takes a shot on the move with heat, only doing 483 damage. But it looks like the HP now is lending itself and the guns to mates. 4-4 even now, so the guns are even, but the HP is almost 1k advantage of mates here.
the guns aren't even already
They're
anymore.
not
Look,
again.
the Amates have like 4 tanks, and the ELEM has 2 tanks, so they are in a dominant position, and all they have to do is take out tanks one by one. I think the first one to go is the Silva, and
Yeah,
he
it's
was
all over here for elements. It's good flanking there by Sexcalibur,
yeah.
just pinning that IS-4 against the husk of another IS-7. And as I said, it is over. Good play there by mates. That push initially, I didn't see it going very well, but the focus fire and them being able to penetrate the majority of their shots enabled them to take down elements there.
Definitely.
If
And
we
you
look at the
can
damage quickly of the pattern, 4k damage, and that was mostly due to outplaying the E50M on the medium side, and then getting some great rear shots into favor in his mouse.
yeah, you can also see some kind of better damage spread on the side of the mates. At least, well, everybody besides the red did 1k damage, and it seems like Orca,
Yeah,
Gun, and
E3
Favor
also came
weren't in that kind of perfect positions to counter anybody from a mate, so they had to ineffectively trade and couldn't do the damage they were supposed to. You know, playing on heavy side on that map is also all about positions and how you use them, the gun depression, the some kind of specifics of the tank and all that stuff. But we're moving to Vineyards now, right?
Vineyards, yes, this is one of some of people's favorite map. I know. I quite like this map. It's not my favorite, Fort Despair. Well, what's your favorite map actually, Whoopsie?
My favorite map, I'd say Canal, and it's actually
Of
gonna
course.
be today in case it's gonna be a tie because the map is pretty open. There is a lot of crossfires. There is a lot of opportunities for the tactic, like how to build it, where to go, what kind of cheeky thing, maybe not cheeky, may even default things on that map's work. But it's all about how you team play, and it's pretty exposed. So it's yeah, as I say, easy to build crossfire, and yeah.
I would say that's pretty similar with, well, it's not pretty similar, it's somewhat similar with Vineyards. You can use lots of different tactics on Vineyards successfully.
Yeah,
You can push
definitely.
into the town and win the battle, but you can also stay out. And generally, that's what we see teams do is use the larger space on the medium side.
Yeah, and Vineyards, I think also one interesting thing about it, there is like an old city and there is a
Mm,
new city. And from the South Spawn, we've seen many clans trying to, well, not exactly in the Blitz Pro League, but at the recent training sessions, many clans tried being aggressive in the city, which is kind of unusual for that map. Well, you saw in Twister 2017, even as I remember, First Alliance tried doing that. Also, I bet a mate's already tried doing that, if
mm.
I'm not mistaken, and it really started going since the map was reworked. Yeah, the caps are now more secure. So besides, apart from getting the advantage on one of the medium caps, it's quite handy sometimes to get the advantage of the city cap as well. And before, when it wasn't reworked, everybody used to play simple map control, and now it might be some unstandard ideas in terms of city, or also unstandard ideas in terms of medium side to counter the movements to the city. So the gameplay became more interesting, in my opinion. And well, you can see that mates already chose pretty light lineup. I'd say it's like, well, if they don't change anything, it's already 2 to 62 ace
Why
and
don't we, so why don't we
seven.
ready up, Whoopsie, and
Oh,
then we'll head into the
yeah.
first game on Vineyards, and let's see how many of those things Whoopsie just mentioned go into effect. We'll see, it's likely, we'll see, wow. So we've got two T62As, which is relatively uncommon now, seeing two at least of the same med, and three IS-4s from Elements, a few tank destroyers as well. So, I mean, I'm pretty sure that we're going to be seeing both teams favour the outward side in this match, and I believe that is, yep, that's what's happening. So
Well,
both
you
LM
can
side
already
is,
see LM spreading their tanks. I think they're going to be playing a map control because Favor and Gun are heading towards the A cup, and Theos and Demon Lord are heading towards the heavy cup. And mates, you can see they are ignoring the heavy cup completely, and they are going to spot and take aggressive positions in the ditch to spot the crossing to the old city with T62 straight away. And look at
that's
that,
a
Favor's already
great positioning there for the T62As. They haven't got the gun depression particularly, but when they get that far up cheekily, they can get that damage in.
Yeah, and look, also what they have done, they've basically countered gun capping. Even from the safe position for him, it's different because the T62s just poke at him, pent him, and basically
S-
showed him
But
nobody. It's
that's
not that
good
easy to cap.
foresight there by Elements, placing that E3 in a position where he can effectively counter what the T62As were trying to achieve. However, they did delay the cap of A, but because they weren't defending the C cap, it does mean that Elements end up with two caps and the cap advantage.
Yeah, you can see Sexcalibur and Kid already being low. I guess Kid was aggressive poking at that 113, and somehow Sexcalibur got spotted because he was in that camping position, and now they're relocating towards the new city along with two T62-8, and Celopan is also coming to take the ditch near the encounter cap, or on the right of the, or on the left even. He's heading to the left or
Batchuck
the
gets a
right.
spot, but he takes a shot for it. And mates, as you just said, are pushing, trying to retake the town. They do need to take back that C cap in order to prevent the Elements winning it.
Yeah. Well, kids Blargen are spotted, but they don't know about Sexcalibur being here. Celopan's also spotted in the middle.
Selapan and De Silva have very critical
Oh,
positions. This
Sexcalibur is
central
getting
position
shot.
is really useful to get spots out and also just put any cheeky shots into rotating vehicles.
Yeah, Sexcalibur is already on 600 HP. Ellen just focus him out as soon as he gets
And
spotted.
Favor down
And
to a one
Favor.
shot as well, down to 264. Great shots there by the Red and Mouse Best Sniper.
Yeah, Favor needs to be extremely careful for the E5 from his left because one poke, one hit in the side of the turret, and it could be all over. And the
But
E3
that
should
may not
also
matter
protect.
because if we look at the cap now, 840, 850 now to Elements, and
Yeah, but
earlier.
look at this. The red is going for the E3, but he's gonna put some shots into Favor and hide from the E3. Radium is already pushing in, so mates are being aggressive on Orca and Favor, trying to get advantage of the A cap. And what you can see, the brawl in the city, the guys from MA took the C cap, but I don't think they will be able to really push into that IS4 because he's covered by a TD and another heavy in the entrance of the city. And you can see here, Gun is gonna go out really soon, and the E3 after him in my opinion.
Good focus
And
fire there by Celopan, changing his fire to that 113 in order to finish him off. And the Red getting in a nice 600 roll with HE and a ram kill. Great play there. However, mates are now losing the HP advantage and they are losing the cap.
yeah, look at that. Somebody definitely needs to stop the A cap because look at the caps. Yeah, it's
This has got to be
975
over
to
now because there's not much mates can do with their Elements capping that C cap. Capping
yeah,
A isn't going to save them now with 990 points and more on the scoreboard. 1000. Great play there by Elements capturing that C base in the beginning, basically forcing mates to make the move.
yeah. And Elm sort of counter pushed the city. I even missed that moment for a little bit. It seemed like the TD and the heavy in the entrance of the city helped the IS4 to get the C cap back, and that was quite a smart move. But to be fair, I was about to say that when the mates had 5 guns alive to 3 of Element's guns, I was about to say if you play this one smart and pin every single shot, you might win the HP trade and even take some tanks out and maybe get the cap advantage. But it seems like something went wrong.
Mm. Right, so what more do mates need to do in order to secure victory? What was their really crucial mistake that they made during that match?
I would say it was about positioning and kind of relocating. Well, you could see Kid lost like HP in the beginning, getting shot by I think it was Favor and Gun, capping the base as well. So they already lost in the HP trade and the relocation. I don't think the T62s and the 268 could win the city against the IS4, the Batchet, and like two tanks who could easily come from LM side to support him, but and the lineup from mates it was quite weak because two T62s they are good for the medium side, they have the good turret, they have the good mobility to relocate, but on this map it often comes to a push, and T62s if they are used not correctly, if you're pushing in many tanks, they might just get focused out, and the lineup was pretty light, so I think that was one of the reasons. So mates really need to do something about placing the light tanks in more correct positions or doing the more correct relocations,
They allowed
or
elements to dominate quite a large portion of the map, as in the town. They had the whole town until they decided to make their push. So this
yeah.
meant that elements were the ones returning fire, able to put in the first shot. Whereas, yeah, it basically just came down to uh, the great counter push there by elements on mates is kind of half-assed push. It wasn't a great push by them. That's why. And
Yeah.
Favor seems to have gone offline. Oh, he's
The
restarted.
relocation from the mate sides of the T62 Ace and the 268 was quite fast, and I
Mm.
think they planned some sort of that thing when they prevented the A cap for a while, and then they were supposed to move to the city. Yeah, but the it was all too light, and now you can see, well, M8s are already done with their lineup, I think, because nobody's swapping anything, and you can see some heavier things. IS4 is going in, the E3 is going in. They even take the mouse, and that might pay off. And the elements need to take something more heavy to that,
Uh-huh.
because on this map it's kind of difficult to play the light lineup and like do some unexpected strat, because there is a lot of crossfires, yeah, but the map itself is too open, and you can get shot basically everywhere, and if you're driving a paper tank you need to look around basically everywhere, and the more HP, the more armor you have, the more difficult it is to snipe you down, focus you out and all
S
that.
I'll just quickly mention that I've removed the overlay since it was blocking the points, so everyone should be able to see everything better now. Hope that helps. So we're just waiting for the last people to ready up, and hopefully we'll see some of those things we've just talked about. What mates will basically uh, think about and do. Well, obviously they can't hear us, but maybe they'll be thinking about it themselves. At least that's what we hope.
Yeah, don't. Yeah, you should not forget to swap the spawns also.
Oh, good job. Thank you. Um, and if we're just thinking about the next match, clearly this isn't going to be a 4-0 now. So Black Goldville, this, as we were talking about this earlier, how it was not a very competitive map for a while, but now it's kind of, I think it's getting a rework eventually. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do with that.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it also hasn't been played for a long time, and there weren't strats prepared like in any of the teams for that map.
Mm.
So now it's the thinking about the map, like about the possibilities where to go, was sort of refreshed, and the teams might prepare something really unusual for Black Goldville. But I think the default thing would remain the same, taking advantage over the medium side and defending the city area. However, some clans are playing for the city and doing it very aggressively sometimes, and that could pay off, that could not. But it all depends on the team play. And in case somebody, elements or mates, are going to do that today, we will see. Yeah, we will see.
Um, and Radium is not readying up, so we're just, come on guys, you need to ready up. We're just waiting
Maybe
for
he's
one guy.
meaning to swap him with the mates guy
No,
in the middle.
oh right, I see. We'll just swap him anyway. I don't think they
Mhm.
wanted him to ready up, and he wasn't. There we go. Right. And
No,
someone
no.
else is now unreadied as well.
No, Bularjan isn't ready.
It's because he's taking his batch out. Radium was meant to be the one playing, but
Oh, unlucky.
oh well. Um, After this game, it will mean that we either end up on a match point, so 3-1 to Elements, or 2-2. Either way, we'll be seeing Black Goldville, and if mates can perform and win 3 games and only concede one, then sorry, win 2 games and only concede one, then we could potentially see Whoopsie's favorite map in Canal.
Yay. And to be fair, you can already see that LM are leading 2-1, and this kind of put pressure to the mates guys, and they need to really, uh, how to say, team up, maybe collect their minds or something like this, and actually make it 2-2. I mean, both teams are pretty equal in terms of skill, but I think for now the team play of LM is kind of more effective
Mm.
than emates. But if emates actually get their stuff together, I think they can respond and maybe even take the lead, because they seem very concentrated, and it is all about some little positioning mistakes, some little personal skill mistakes, and yeah. But it's pretty even in terms of everything right now. I wouldn't even say that elements or mates are going to win, because I don't really know who is going to win actually.
No, nor do I. I'm just enjoying watching Funny Bear count down since we're waiting 1 minute.
Oh, wow, yeah, in the chat. Nice.
And he's ready, finally. Okay,
Mm.
and as we approach our second round on Vineyards, let's see how much, what is done differently from both teams here, and hopefully we can see
Well,
mates pull one off, because I think both of us would like to see all 7 games played this evening.
yeah, well, we can see mates taking a more heavily armored lineup. The E3, the mouse
Mm.
are like noticed from the first sight by anybody, and the elements, well, they are having pretty much the same lineup they had from another spawn. And I think they're going to do a map control also, because look at the spread on the minimap of the tanks straight away.
Mm.
They're going to all directions. There is a guy in the entrance of the city. There is a guy heading towards A cap. Yeah, it's a map control, and the mates are responding. Look
It
at that.
looks
It's
it just
also
If we just quickly comment on what Orca tried doing. So Orca in his bat chat immediately was able to capture B, but it took them so much longer for mates to cap A because they didn't have a light or a medium tank. So that
yeah
they were
they had
going too heavy there.
yeah they had to cap with the 268 apparently.
Yeah.
So
And I think he's going to get caught out with one shot here. Yeah, great shot there by Ganhua. Oh, I can't pronounce his name, from Elent into Excalibur. And yeah, we're seeing what you said. We're just seeing them trying to trade with each other, gaining that map control, and Mates has got a mouse in the town, so he's likely going to be capping the sea base if he's not reset.
yeah, I still think there is again some little positioning mistakes from both sides. I would well, suggest, I can't really suggest, but I think it would be better if Six Caliber moved more to the back, because the 268 isn't really the tank to brawl in the front line with, and the Batchat is still, you can see from elements. The Batchat Orca is still in the B cap, even though he could have relocated, maybe spotted the city, maybe tried taking control of the C cap. Well, he would struggle with that, because you see, mates are having a tank in the city, which is going to C, by the way.
It's but I agree. They've kind of wasted that Batchat's ability. They're trying to use him as a sniping tank, where he does much better as a spotter or playing more aggressively. For example, if this Batchat decided to move underneath the bridge here and maybe could get a few shots into the E5 before he could react.
Yeah,
City
because
mates have nothing to respond with.
nobody is even covering that E5. They don't have anybody in that position, in the TD position, and both the 268 and the E3 were spotted. Now the 263, the 268, excuse me, is moving back to the camping
But
position.
he's lost so much HP already,
Yeah.
so it's kind of he waited too long. He shouldn't have been to cap A anyway. Mates made a mistake not bringing a faster tank to cap that base, which means now that they elements have the cap advantage. Unless the mouse is going into C now, and he's just getting reset.
Yeah, the mouse is getting permanently reset by the Silva. He's been just hitting him in the cheeks, and yeah, the mouse isn't really the best tank to try to cap C with. It's like huge, and it can be reset pretty easily.
You can just HE its tracks. Maybe a
Oh,
tactic that would have worked. Oh, Orca seems to be pushing up underneath the bridge, or at least nearer to the bridge, as we were talking about earlier. And there we
oh,
go. There's some rear shots. No one is there to protect the rear of that E5.
yeah, you can see huge HP advantage on the element side, and the Demon Lord is being aggressive on kids, so the city side is going to go to elements. So the mates really need to do something, well, to outtrade,
They need
to
to do
bring
anything.
the
They've just
advantage.
been out traded, and there's the first tank that goes down. Surprised it took that long, but Celapan and his IS4 gets sniped out by, I believe that was a 2868, yeah? So good shot there by Theos.
Kid must go down now.
And here we go, here's the push here from Mates, and they've already got such low HP due to that poor trading early. Boulanger takes an 800
Yeah, oh my God.
damage roll from into the side, and it's not going to go far. There's 4 times the HP for Elements here.
Look at the points also. It's
And it's over.
1,000 points towards LMZ. But look at the HP. It's 9k to 1k. The huge advantage. It's not even huge. It's enormous advantage on the element side.
And we can
that's what I
see
really
that when
call
we
it
look at the
good map
damage.
control.
Not one person, only one person on Mates scored over 1k, and only one person on Elements scored under 1k. So really good play there by Elements, really showing off really great crossfire and team play. They were able to splash most vehicles.
Yeah, LM showed a really decent map control over there. They had crossfire on all the angles and they had control on all the caps. And what I think mates did wrong in some situations, they couldn't have. They not even couldn't have. They shouldn't have exposed themselves and took unneeded, unnecessary hits into them, and that caused. You see, basically everybody did some personal mistakes again, and it led to a 9k HP advantage of LM at the end. So yeah. It was a really good game from Elem.
That was their strongest game. They've obviously got a good. Well, that tactic that they used, that map control tactic, their positioning. You commented on the weakness of some of them. So, for example, the Batcha. However, generally, all of the other vehicles were in excellent positions. The highlight was De Silva's position in his IS4. We'd commented on that in the previous game when we said that central position you can see almost all over the map, and you can get shots into the C cap and shots into other rotating vehicles. And that's what he did. He just kept on resetting that mouse.
Yeah. Well, now moving on to Black Goldville.
And that is right. Black Goldville is one of the maps that some teams are not so good at. Same with Alpenstadt. And it basically... it's a little bit solar. Same with Alpenstadt, where we saw some teams not knowing the map as well and potentially failing to produce a good tactic for it. Hopefully we won't be seeing that today. I believe Elements, well, both teams seem to have had tactics planned out for all of the maps so far, so hopefully we see that trend continue.
Yeah, definitely. But I really want a mate to at least pull it back to 3-3 because Canal. Oh, Canal. Please
We'll
let
only
it
see
be
one round
today.
anyway, and let's see if Mates can do that in the first round on Black Goldville. Low lineouts here, so we see a Death Star that immediately stands out to
Yeah.
me. I talked about how open this map was earlier, and if someone can produce good shots with the Death Star, then that can really change the way of the battle.
Yeah, it's actually a very balanced tank.
It is, you're right,
Actually,
it's
a
very balanced.
face-ripping boomstick that can slap anybody and burn him down to half HP with one single shot. And I think they're going to use it behind B because it's B is like a cap that everybody is trying to get. If anybody sees an opportunity to get into B, oh, nice driving from Favor.
Yeah, I saw that.
Everybody if somebody sees an opportunity to get into B, he's definitely going to use that. And you can see Death Star, Funny Bears. Well, he can have a shot at part of B, and Orca is having a shot at another part of B. So if anybody else from a mate's team goes into B, he's going to get really punished.
And here we see Elements managing to cap out the A base. Good position there from Demon Lord just behind the rock. Unfortunately, he does get splashed by an HE round. I believe that was from the 268. And
yeah, you can see Elements are being aggressive on the A side. They're getting the cap straight away, as you mentioned, Demon Lord. And then you can see them taking the advantage over the caves area. The WZs are basically there, and they can even move a bit closer to put pressure on the mates, which they are going to do soon. Yeah, Gunner's going there, and
if we look quickly at the positioning of each team, Mates is more centered down towards the B cap with a 113 IS4 kind of pushing more down the B, and Elements only has 3 tanks down here. So, and the 2 of them are tank destroyers, so an effective Well, I mean, they couldn't push obviously straight down this road, but if they moved up, then they could really put pressure on this flank of Elements.
Yeah, to be fair, I need to give a heads up to Cellopan because he just got B and didn't, and he only got shot once by the E3. While there was a bad shot, there was a Death Star, and the E3 could have landed the second shot into him.
If we look quickly here, it's Elements is actually pushing into mates, and you've got the IS-7s of Boulanger and Kit, who are getting absolutely smashed. Kit there taking 1.1k damage. Not before the Demon Lord goes down, though, to Excalibur in his 113, and De Silva comes in, puts a side shot into Mouse's best. But Elements here, bleeding their hit points. Look at this.
Yeah.
Mates has still got 2 full health heavies right up at the front.
You can see that Red tried to run away, surviving, but Favor just dislined him, and now you can see Bularjan.
Great focus fire here from mates. They got this 3 heavy tank push now against Silver, solo in his IS-4, and LMs are going to have to be pushing with their tank destroyers. It's not something always you want to do.
Yeah, and you can see the gun advantage on the side of Elements, and now the Silva is gone, so mates responded here really coordinatedly, and while getting...
And Funny Bears fluffs his shot against Radium and the Death Star as well. So, nothing really went right for Elements in this round. They lost the B cap without putting out that much damage, and their push through, just north of the A cap in the caves just did not go to plan.
Yeah, and now Orca is the only one alive, but I think is not going to last for long against 5 half HP and full HP M8 tanks. And the 6k advantage on the side of M8s. And now they dominated this game, so it seems maybe M8s collected their minds and they started to actually being more aggressive, respond to what LMs are doing. Because you could see they were getting pushed, but at the same time they didn't like get discoordinated. They focused the tanks of LM pushing one by one, and they actually shielded each other. That team play, I literally saw Bularjan rushing in and trying to shield Kid in his IS-7, who was a one-shot. And oh my god, LM, I don't think they expected that. And there were some moments I literally saw in their faces in the guns of the tanks that LM were moving. They were literally looking around like, how? They had like 3 tanks pushing into 2, and they then the mates literally relocated their tanks straight away and responded on 4v3, and then 5v2 situation because one of LMs was already killed, but still it was so spectacular. Oh my god, man, this is promising. Like
well, I'm not rooting for either team, but I have hope that if mates performed that well on that side of Black Goldville, that they could definitely do the same thing on the other side. It wasn't their tactic was solid. They were able to get that B base, as I said earlier, and the push the Elements made just wasn't successful because of the great positioning of the mates heavy tanks.
Yeah, Elements are now capsing in the chat. Spawn, please. Oh my god, but that was a really nice game, almost as nice as Elements their final game on Vineyards.
It was, yeah, and I think we're ready to go into the second. Just as I click the button there, I'm ready. Brilliant. All right. Come on, guys. Oh, they've taken up to. There we go.
Nice. Can launch.
Perfect. Right. So 2-2-6-8s from mates this time. So this screams just campiness, but I don't think that's necessarily what they're gonna do. They might try that aggression that was successful last game.
And you can see Elements are still keeping that E3 and 183, even the same people playing those. And on the side of M8s, well, they took a second TD. I think they had only one in the first match. And they took... No, they had the bad shots. They had the WZ. Yep. It's pretty much equal in terms of the lineups, but you can see M8s are sending a tank to spot the A base, and they're trying to build a map control all over the map. And you can see they are heading towards the A side aggressively. They're mirroring their strat from like the same, doing the same that they did from another spawn. and they are leaving one TD in the city, but I think he's going to get covered by another TD and the
And
Batchat that are
it's
ready to
interesting that mates
execute.
haven't gone for any bases. They've been really, really passive this game. So
Yeah,
they're gonna lose the A base to the Demon Lord in his IS4 once again. Elements looking like
yes.
they're pulling off pretty much the same tactic.
Yeah, and the Demon Lord did cap A, and now it puts pressure onto the mates team. What they really tried to do, in my opinion, is wait to see where the enemy team goes, but they brought it to the moment that they lost the advantage, and it really took them time. You see, the Batchet is now in C, but the time it took for him to relocate
We
from A to C
we should have seen
was
Celopan. I know he's getting spotted out here, but we should have seen him push into the B base a long time ago. There we go. He takes the shot, which we expected, but he'd have taken that shot 2 minutes ago. Same way.
yeah. He is capping B now, and the mates might get a cap advantage if Silopan is successful. But you see, Orca, he's really doing the rock climbing. He tried exposing himself
I,
to to every angles of crossfire to decap, but it
I'm
seems
really
like he
worried
missed.
for mates here actually because they've got these two heavy tanks, the IS-7 and the E5, and oh no, not anymore. I'm worried because the 113s seem to be pushing a different place. These two heavy tanks were isolated, and if elements had pushed it, then they would have gained a two-tank advantage immediately.
Yeah, well, you can see mates are now having two bases capped, and now elements need to do something. And I think a push is going to be coming within 2 or 3 minutes because elements seem to be really lost, and they are all as they were near the A base, trying to look for some crossfire angles onto M8 tanks. And you see, M8s are at first they were
Six
all
Caliber
located.
going down. What? Six Caliber straight down. Great support
Oh
fire
my
there
god.
from elements.
I missed that moment. Was it Gun? Did he come in and take
Yeah,
out the?
he just decided
Oh,
to push up, and he just got outflanked by Gunner and Orca.
oh well. You can see that the mates are responding. Gun is bouncing some shots, and he's down to 700 HP.
But look at the HP difference. There's 2k HP difference.
Yeah, the elements are going. They are not going to. They're doing something in the city area because the demon lord is coming closer to be. Gun
And
is
red again,
going
so
to.
far forward. Why
Yes.
is IS4 behind the 268?
Yeah, that's quite
They
weird, and
they
you
should
can
have
see the
different
gun
positions.
advantage on the side of Elim, the HP advantage even on the side of Elim, and Elim are going for C base,
And
so they are
Kid is now
having two
approaching
captains.
Favor, and is Favor going to be able to get around the corner in time?
The
Looks
red
like
is
he
going to
is,
go
but
down.
there's going to be an
Yes,
HE shot to greet him, and 1000 damage into and
Favor
transfer.
loses a huge bunch of HP to Radium and killing his 268, but I don't think this is going
If we
to
look at the
save the
points though,
situation.
Celapan now pushing out into the open, almost suicidally, and Demon Lord getting another shot at him, and he goes down. Now only two tanks remain on the side of Elements, and this game is over due to cap.
Yeah, 7v2 with such an HP lead. Our elements are making wonders again. To be fair, I expected by the positioning mates to take this one, but you can see the damage. Again, the positioning I think was a mistake because you could see elements are mainly farming their damage today because of all the crossfire angles possible, and this is really seen from their team play and from their coordination. And I think what a mate lacked today, apart from good positioning, was also some kind of team play because everybody tried to go single. Well, you can see that even this game, the 268 of a mate got straight away isolated and pushed by gun,
Mm.
and then he just went solo, and then two other tanks were in the entrance of the city not even supporting him. So uh,
I
and
that's
that
it.
was like many games.
And I think that Mate's big mistake there was just being over playing as solos. Like they overextended in one place or another. There was a 113 that pushed up and got taken out almost immediately. And I'd quickly bring my attention to Noxious YouTube. Uh, thank you very much for your $2, even though it doesn't go to sorry, €2 even. It goes to Thomas. He says, although I do not understand anything, it is still interesting. Oh, I'm I'm glad.
Nice.
um,
But I have to admit it was really spectacular games today after the first the first half of the stream, I suppose, because the first games were quite like, well, yeah, default strat countering another default strat, and then everybody trading even. Well, you could see on Oasis Palms, the second game especially, it was simply like everybody doing nothing, and then you could see elements were taking advantage on Vineyards, and then now they were counter pushing the city. They were pushing A, and the mates were though responding to that
Mm.
push, and that was really spectacular.
I
Oh,
thought that Elements played that most of those games really well. Apart from obviously the Black Goldville round that Mates managed to win, they really dominated them actually. It was really strong.
yeah.
So I think that's pretty much it for these games. Thank you very much for tuning in, everybody. I think we got up to 40 something people, so that's quite good. And we'll be having a second series of games later this evening. Win versus Legion main team. So I hope to see you all there. That is at 8:30 CEST. Same channel. It's going to be a different stream link, and I'll post that in the BEC and server announcements shortly. Great. Thank you very much. It'll be on this channel, obviously. So just stay put. See you later, guys.
Yeah, see ya.